So this week, as happens a lot of times, not only am I speaking to you, but I speak to my own heart. Many times, I start kind of sitting around, I'm thinking, why is all this happening to me? Poor old me. The world's just out to get me. We have to stop and think. Once we become self-focused, then we can understand there's the problem. When we become constantly hurt by others around us, do you find yourself in constant turmoil, battling it out with your wife or your husband or your neighbors or people around you? Maybe someone cuts you off in line, you're standing in line, somebody just kind of cuts right in front of you. Do you immediately have to defend yourself and make a big scene and explain make sure everybody noticed what the lousy person this was that cut in front of awesome you? Do we live stressed out, worried all the time, constantly concerned when the next person is going to go and make your day miserable? Is the world unfair and out to get you? More than likely, if you're experiencing any or all of these, your problem is pride. Pride or self-centeredness. Most of the problems that we have are because of pride. We put ourselves first. We do everything we can to defend our feelings, everything we can to defend how awesome everybody should think that we are. There is one type of pride that you prop yourself up and absolutely everybody else should really see how awesome you are. And then there's another type of pride that is also self-centered, and that's constantly afraid of what others want to think of me. I'm afraid to get up and speak in public because what will they think? I'm afraid to speak out for Jesus for fear of men's faces. The Bible teaches us that the sole source of contention is pride. Let's start Proverbs 13:10. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Okay, so sometimes I am a little dense. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to look up contention. So I've looked up contention for everybody, and this is what the internet says, and it seems to work. Contention refers to a heated disagreement. Now, it's typically like arguing with your spouse or others or neighbors. A struggle between opponents, or an argued point of view, often used to describe a bone of contention. I have heard that term before, that two people were arguing. What were they arguing about? Well, that is the bone of contention. That is what they are arguing about. It commonly means an assertion, a claim, or discord. Common usage examples: argument or claim. It is her contention that the new law will only benefit the wealthy. Disagreement. The new budget was a major point of contention between two parties. Competition. That win keeps our team in contention for the playoffs. Conflict. Years of contention and infighting broke up the group. I've seen churches split. I've seen friends split, and I've seen marriages split. Most of these happen because both or either cannot let go of their pride. I have a friend of mine, he said one of the biggest, heatest arguments he had with his girlfriend at the time was on how to do dishes. And I guess this got to be almost a knockdown drag out about the proper way to wash these vessels in which you eat. And I'm sitting here thinking, I think I'd have told her, you win. I'm not worthy to do them. But we can get, once we've decided we have a point where we are right, it can get kind of ugly, and I've seen it happen many times. Let's look at Proverbs 21:9. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. That could be a woman or a man. It is better, basically, to live in a closet than to enjoy a whole house having to put up with somebody when all they want to do is argue and complain. Proverbs 26:21. As coals are to burning coals and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. If you've got somebody that's contentious or somebody that's argumentative, somebody that's generally always cranky, it don't take much. Once they see that there's a little something there, this is saying that they're going to keep adding wood to the fire. They're going to keep making it worse, and they're going to keep making it worse. A contentious man, he just adds fuel to strife. So we need to, as people, number one, not be contentious, not be full of pride. You know what? It doesn't matter 90% of the time if the other person is right or wrong. Some arguments just aren't even worth fighting. But we do it because if we're right, everybody needs to know, well, there's a problem with your pride. Couple things here you want to kind of keep in mind. One, do not surround yourself with people that are contentious. If you know somebody that's argumentative, you know somebody that the world's always out to get them, you know somebody that no matter where they go, it seems like the whole town's after them, this is according to them, you're better off to steer clear from them. Another thing, contention doesn't come because of what others do to us. It's what's inside that makes us angry. We have talked before about the old man in you is dead. If we keep that old man within us dead, or the old sinful nature dead, or our self-centeredness dead, if you got someone that's dead laying here on the floor, you can walk up, you can kick them, you can call them names, you can do all manner of evil, and they're not going to care. They're not going to respond. When you understand this, you understand when someone made you angry, they cut you off in line, and all of a sudden you're mad. The problem isn't them. As a Christian, we have allowed somebody else to change our feelings. We have allowed the world to change our outlook. We cannot stop our anger by stopping other people. If you have an anger problem, it's you. But you don't understand what my wife puts me through. The problem is you. You don't understand the neighbors I live next to. They're terrible. The problem is still you. You don't understand how I'm treated when I go out in public. The problem is still you. If you are angry, you have allowed the world to make you angry. We have to get to the root of our problem. And the root of our problem is our own pride. The verse said that pride isn't one possible cause of arguing and contention. It says it is the only cause. In order to have an argument, requires two people. Tell a story on myself. My wife had me angry one time. I was spitting nails, man. I was hot. And I was on the road, and you know what? When I get home, she's going to get an earful. Oh man, I was irritated. I come in the door, and she meets me at the door, and she says, "You're right, honey. I am so sorry." She just sucked all the wind right out of my sails. I mean, I was ready for an argument here. I was ready for a knockdown, drag out, and she just, woof. It takes two. Fortunately, in that instance, she took the road of humility. She chose to be gracious. It takes two of us to argue. It takes you and the rest of the world in order to fight the rest of the world all the time. If you want to fight other people, if you want to argue, if you want to stir up stuff, there's plenty out there that will be more than happy to do it with you. But if you can hear what I'm saying, I don't care what the rest of the world is doing. I care what I have in my heart. And if I can change in my heart, if I can view things differently, if I can allow Jesus to work in my life, I can view things differently. We have a few different examples from the Bible that I'd like to look at. Let's quickly look at Numbers 12:3. Now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. Can you imagine? Moses was meek. If you read, and I will tell you, you need to read. If you will read Moses, an account of him and Israelites, so many times, Moses did not defend himself from the other Israelites. When his sister had bad things to say about him, he did not retaliate. God stepped in and dealt with Moses' sister. When you understand God has our best interests in heart, He is watching out for us. If you can start to see things differently, you're going to start to feel concerned for those who are attacking you. You're going to be a little worried about what might happen to those that are attacking God's children. We do not have to retaliate in anger. We should reply with love, concern. Pray for those who despitefully use you. Pray for those who do not like you. When you figure Moses, at that time, I would say very possibly the most powerful person on this planet. That's the way he would be viewed by the rest of the world. Moses understood his power comes from God. But I don't know of anybody in this room or anybody on the internet or anyone that can go up and have the waters split before them. Had the plagues that happened to Egypt through Moses. And yet he was meek, he was humble, he was not self-promoting. Matthew 11, 28 through 30. This is Jesus speaking. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Jesus, as part of the Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, would be arguably the most powerful entity that exists. And yet he chose to come to this planet as a human. If you study Jesus' life, and I recommend everybody, you should be reading the four Gospels. If you start anywhere, start with the four Gospels. Hebrews 5, 4 and 5. And no man taketh this honor unto himself, but he that is called of God, as was Aaron. So also Christ glorified not himself to be made a high priest, but he said unto him, Thou art my son, today I have begotten thee. Couple things in verse 4 is saying that as a priest or a pastor, we are not, there's so many people that decide that they want to be a pastor, they decide they're going to be a priest. But if you're not chosen of God, we can decide to do things and it just won't work. God chooses who speaks for him. God chose Jesus. I found it interesting because Jesus is considered the high priest. He represents us before God. But Jesus, and all the power that he had, he could do anything. He was part of creating this world. He did not appoint himself. He was humble. He was meek. God promoted him when he needed promoted. Matthew 16:24. Then Jesus said to his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. We need to daily deny self. This is not saying that, for some reason, I've seen some, they'll take little whips and they whip their back, to punish themselves on a daily basis. That's not what I'm talking about. We don't, as Christians, go around constantly beating ourselves up, saying, I'm no good, I'm so lousy, blah, 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 I'm just a worm. No. We deny self by showing love to others above ourselves. I'm not calling for us to be abused. There is a difference. I'm not calling for us to be picked on or beat on or anything like that. But when someone cuts us off in line, we have every opportunity to say, you know what? God bless you. I go to this church. Maybe you can come with me Sunday. We have an opportunity to smile and say, boy, I hope you're having a nice day today. I certainly am. We have opportunity to shine. Let that light of Jesus shine through us. Jesus denied his own self-interests. If you remember the prayer Jesus had, Lord, or Father, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done. Jesus denied his own self-interests. And listen to what God has to say. We need to deny our self-interests. Become Christ-centered, not people-centered, not ourselves. Deny ourselves Put God and others first. Galatians 2:20. I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. We are not able many times to destroy pride in our life on our own power. We need to accept what Jesus has done for us. We need to accept that when we become Christians, that old self died. We need to remind ourselves of that, sometimes daily. But it's through Jesus' work in our lives, through what he has accomplished. We need to love Christ more than ourselves. Romans 6:6. Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. When we are hung up on ourselves, when we are self-centered, we are serving sin. Proverbs 17:14. We do need to realize that old man within us is dead. Many times we keep propping him up. Even though he's dead, we keep bringing him out. Keep him dead. When we're truly walking in the Spirit, and the Bible tells us that we should be walking in the Spirit, when we are walking in the Spirit, we are allowing Christ to be the center of our lives, not ourselves. Proverbs 17:14. The beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water. Therefore, leave off contention before it be meddled with. That is saying, once you open that door and you let that contention out, once you start that argument, once you start expressing your hurt and lashing out to others, it gets really hard to get that put back. I guarantee you, everyone in here, sometime or another, has said something that they really wish they had never said. I see all the heads. Oh boy, the stories we could tell. If we stop it before it starts, it's a lot easier. As one person said, it's like a water building up behind a dam. And once you break that dam open, it is hard to close it back up. The Living Bible says, with this verse, it is hard to stop a quarrel once it starts. So don't let it begin. We can have peace with Jesus. We can't do it on our own. Many times our walk, way we view things, gets in our way. We need to start opening our heart up to the idea that it's all right when bad things happen around you. We don't have to get involved with that. We don't have to be part of the problem. We have an opportunity to let our light shine on the problem. Start thinking about it before it happens. What can I do differently in this situation? A good place to start is, do you have Jesus Christ in your life today? Is He your Lord and Savior? Do you allow Him to give you direction? Or do you try to do it all on your own? Or have you already turned your life over to Jesus and yet you still battle with self? We need to make that decision in our heart that Jesus is more important than self. Let's become more Christ-centered and less self-centered. A lot of this sermon comes from, I have people that I talk to on a regular basis, and I always tell them, don't look to me, because I will let you down sooner or later. And I don't mean this in a way that I have some great dark sin that's going to pop out and everybody's going to say, oh. I say this because I am human. I make mistakes. I may step on your toes sometimes, or I may not wave at you when I see you on the street. Sometimes these things happen. But I tell people that up front because I need people to know I am not perfect. I look forward to the day when I walk into heaven, and I'm pretty sure the gates open, and I'm going to walk in and people are going to be cheering and singing, and I'm going to say, thank you that Jesus was in my life. I tell people that I'm just a donkey carrying Jesus.